What's up, guys? Rashad with Team Portal. Today I'll be bringing you a deck profile for a set 11 deck. It's going to be a Mythiarq. I thought this deck was pretty fun, and it's not the best deck, but it's a cool deck. So we'll get right into it. Just a generic starter, of course. In grade 1, when it's run over by Mythiarq, you get to call it to rear. When it's in the back row, when you place a Mythiarq bond ability in the same column, that Mythiarq in the front row will get 5k. Grade 2 also has the same skill. When it's rode over by Mythiarq, you get to call it to rear. When this one's placed on rear, you can soul charge 1, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, and it can't intercept for the turn. And then the grade 3, when it's placed, you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and you call a Mythiarq. And if you've got 5 units, your opponent discards a card. When it attacks, you counterblast 1, you bounce a Mythiarq back to hand, and call a Mythiarq with a different name from your hand. So then on to the deck. Of course, we round it out with the rest of the Persona rods and the grade 3 Mythiarq. So this one, when it's placed, you counterblast 1, draw a card, and it gains 5k. So this is kind of like all your draw power in the deck right here. You want to pretty much play this guy 3 times a turn, and when you can, obviously. You want to play him about 3 times a turn. It fills your hand up really nice and helps you dig for your other pieces because you need the Mythiarq cards. Next is the grade 2. When he is placed, if you... he gains, when he's placed on rear, if you've got 3 or more Mythiarq units, he gains 5k. Then you can Soul Blast 1, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, and it can't restand during the next turn. And then he has another ability, once per turn, you get to choose one of your Mythiarqs, bind it, and then call it back. So that lets you reuse this ability. So basically you'll call this one, you counterblast, draw, play him, use his skill, blink it out, back in, counterblast, draw, swing with your Vanguard, bounce this one back to hand, play another one to him from hand, counterblast, and draw. So this is just the only way you can get decent draw power in the deck. And then him gaining 5 combined with the grade 1, it makes him a really nice number. Then we play 3 more of the one from the rod line because you have to max out on the Mythiarqs. Next, I play 2 of this because it gives you 2 plant tokens. You need to have 5 units on the board for your grade 3 skill. So this just helps you keep 5 units on the board. Next, the grade 1s. 4 of the counter charger. If you got 3 or more face down damage. If you haven't counter charged his turn, when he boosts, you get to counter charge 1. You really need this card because you use a lot of counter blasts in this deck for the draw. More copies of this fella because once again it's just more power. And then 3 copies of Habitat. So this lets you search for your other stuff and call it so you get the right Mythiarqs that you want. Next to the PGs, just 4 of the 2 or less in hand PG. 2 crit heals and 2 regular heals. 4 front triggers. 7 crits, and the 8th crit is OT. So that's the trigger lineup. You can play draws instead of fronts. You just kind of want to hit big numbers because you're only a 4 attack deck, which is the reason I play fronts in here. But the draws also would help out quite a bit for helping you find your pieces. But all in all, there's only been like a couple of times where like my top for the Vanguard wasn't exactly like the right cards I needed. One time it was actually just all triggers and like PGs, so that happens as well occasionally. So that's why I decided to max out on the Mythiarq names, so I had a higher chance of hitting a Mythiarq unit. But the deck is fun for sure. Like, it's definitely not a contender in the meta currently. Maybe it'll get more support in the future. It needs some more Mythiarqs that maybe do better things. Like, stunning a board is kind of cool. Like, it's not bad, but usually your opponent just has stuff to replace the cards you stun with, and then, it doesn't really it doesn't really do a lot compared to the stuff that the other decks do in the meta right now. But that's Mythiarq deck. It's super cheap. This whole deck's probably like $30 maybe. So if you want a budget fun deck to pick up and just play casually, I definitely consider playing this one. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.